By the way, coming up in the next segment will be the co-founder and executive publisher of George, Michael J. Berman, joining us from New York, where he finally got there because of the traffic. If you're watching now and wondering why are we on now, you know, the O.J. Simpson trial was supposed to go to 11 p.m. each night Eastern Time, but Johnny Cochran wound up today. The defense is done. The prosecution now gets its rebuttal. That will come tomorrow morning. So following this program, we'll be running an extra 15 minutes to complete an hour. Jim Murray will host a special bringing you right up to date on the O.J. Simpson trial. Tomorrow night, Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, Jim Baker. Before we take our next call, what was Wallace like to be around? I knew him a long time ago.
Really? It was fascinating. I mean, I had just images of him garnered from history books or clippings that I had read before. And when you'd finally met him, I mean, he is an elderly man. He has been sick, but he is extremely he's extremely strong in the same way.
There's that great photo of him.
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Brits took those. You couldn't help but not like him and appreciate his kind of steely nerve.
When he referred to your father, as he did a few times in your family, are you used to that now?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get that in all the interviews,
sure.
Right?
And I mean, that's, you know, I didn't shy away from sort of addressing it on those things. So it was interesting to, there's actually a picture of the two of them in his office, and they've just had a chat, and both of them look rather cross.
Let's take another call. Burlington, Ontario, for John F. Kennedy. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Kennedy.
Good evening.
I would like to tell you that one of my earliest memories is of the riderless horse.
Yeah, I remember that. What's the question? I can't hear you. What's the question, sir? Why is he gone? Okay. Who will ever forget the riderless horse? When you watch that, I don't know why we left that caller. You watch that emotionally? Or is it hard to be emotional?
Of course you watch
it is emotional.
Absolutely.
But you don't have the pain of it.
No, but it is what it is.
So you feel what it is. Do you ever fear your own health?
My own health?
Yeah, they're nuts in this country.
No, I don't feel it. I mean, no.
I mean, Kennedys must think about it. How could they not think about it? Any Kennedy, in public life or not.
But I mean, it's not something that, it's sort of like walking around wondering if you're going to be struck by lightning. It's kind of, it's just not something that you really keep in the forefront of your mind much.
But it might affect decision-making, like going into politics, mightn't it?
Right, but it doesn't.
It seems not to with the five that are in. But it wouldn't, in other words, if you went in or thought about going in, the thought of being harmed by going in would not enter into you.
That wouldn't be one of the considerations, no.
What about this parole phenomenon? Are you going to get into that in George? Here he's back, right here.
Back, and he was right here.
Right here the other night. What do you make of this?
I mean, I think it's fascinating, and it's really one of the things which had kind of motivated us to try and do a magazine that wasn't partisan, and a lot of people had said you can't do, and I think a lot of the perceptions he shattered, that somehow you have to stay within the two-party system, and clearly he is focused on and defined a whole group of people who are dissatisfied with the two-party system. I mean, not that I am, but so, you know, we're sort of on to what he's on.
Westminster, Pennsylvania, hello.
Hi, good evening,
Yes.
gentlemen. What was your inspiration into going into publishing?
Well, I'd grown up around words and the like, and my partner had understood, I think, more than me, the commercial opportunities that a magazine like this presented, and we had a good idea, and we thought we could do something with it. And it was the thrill of being an entrepreneur, I think, which was in an endeavor which both of us knew something about.
So the inspiration came from, it was in you, it's in your culture, right?
Yeah.
Your mother was an editor,
yeah.
Everyone liked writing.
Yeah, and it's what I was comfortable with. I'd always liked magazines. I mean, certainly that doesn't qualify you necessarily to be an editor, but we spent enough time on it, and we took enough care, and we articulated the premise enough that it was really a fully articulated idea.
What do you make of this whole ballpark now? The tabloids, they're everywhere. Everywhere we turn, there's something going on. The media, it's the left-handed people, right-handed people, shocking stories, daytime television. What do you make of it all? like a morass.
I mean, yeah, it's part of. I mean, we're bombarded with information, and it's of all different types and timbers. So, it makes life more exciting.
Do you dislike tabloids, even though they're crazy with you?
No, I kind of like them.
You're kidding.
Nothing like that and tabloid and a cup of coffee, sure.
You read them?
Yes.
When you read about yourself, and let's say it's a lie, or it's an absurdity, how do you treat it?
I think I chuckle, depending on what it is, but most of the time I mean, you have to understand that a lot of that stuff really, as strange as it may seem, it doesn't have a lot to do with my life. It's this kind of thing that...
Out there.
That's sort of out there and sort of it drives on, and you just...
Great that you could be amused by it, though.
Yeah, well, I'm not always amused by it, but most of the time.
Back with more of JFK and Michael J. Berman, the co-founder and executive publisher of George. Now we'll find out what he's like to work with. Don't go away.
That one's off too, the top one?
Turn on that one.
I'll turn it on. Great.
Hi, Michael. You hear me all right?
Yes, I do. How are you?
How are you, Michael? Just call me Larry.
Hello, Larry.
Hello, Michael.
What do I call the other guy?
Whatever you want.
Sir.
I like that.
My leader, whatever you want.
Yes.
And when he's talking, look in there.
I'm sorry, what? Thanks.
What time did you get there?
Plenty of time.
7:30.
Wendy, want to give me a time idea here? Michael,
Yes.
Wendy says hello.
Hello, Wendy. How are you?
She can hear you. She'll talk to you right after.
Okay.
Okay. A montage, as they call it, of pages from a historic new magazine, George, the first issue. Its co-founder and editor-in-chief is John F. Kennedy. Junior, you can say anything. Call him JFK, JFK Junior. Call him anything. Write about him. He don't care. He goes on with his life. He's got a wonderful time. Now, we're joined by him. I'm starting to sound like Jackie Mason. And Michael J. Berman joins us from New York. He is the co-founder and executive publisher of George. Michael, how did you and John hook up on this?
You can leave out my middle initial too, Larry. That's
Okay, I'll leave out the J.
John and I had been friends for a while, and it was at some point during the last election where we sat down and looked at politics and saw that people were addressing politics in a whole new way. And the politics had sort of invaded popular culture, and candidates were announcing their candidacies on your show. And when Ross Perot debated Al Gore on the NAFTA debate, it was the most highly watched cable television event ever. Certainly, some of that must have been due to your skills. But politics had invaded sort of the world of the popular world. And we thought, why not create a magazine that addresses that?
Had you worked for magazines?
I actually had no magazine experience before, neither did John, and people often ask us, you know, didn't that impede the process a little bit? It made us work a little harder, and in fact, we
or
say
political interest either.
two for two, that's not bad.
I mean, you would have bet against this then.
No, not at all. I mean, we both had a lot of passion for it, and we understood that there was an opportunity. John wanted to involve more people in the political process, and I thought that there was a niche to be filled, that people really did care about this genre of politics, and thus, you know, George was created.
You came from PR, right?
Right. I had a public relations and marketing company. We launched products in the marketplace, so that was my forte here, and combined with John's, you know, incredible knowledge and passion for politics, you know, we sort of had a partnership.
Who runs the show?
Should we both answer at once?
All right, well, Mr. Kennedy first.
Well, actually, what we had decided long before was that that really, if for one of us to run the show, wouldn't work. So we're remarkably like-minded about some things and unlike-minded in others, and actually that helps. But we fight about everything that we really, and ultimately come to a resolution.
Let's say you have a fight, Michael, over the next cover.
Let's say. I think we've had about 4 today.
Okay, are you're having fights?
Absolutely.
How
Makes for a
is
great partnership.
Who wins?
It depends. You know, the better party usually wins, and that's the great thing about a 50-50 partnership. You sort of have to duke it out, and you know, the best man wins. So on any given day, it could be either one.
Or the best idea. I mean, your idea is scrutinized and focused, and you have to defend it, and usually it's the best way to come out of it.
We also have a great staff. I mean, there are a lot of other people working with us,
Obviously.
so oftentimes you know, other people win too.
Michael, obviously, as you well understand, who wouldn't, there's a great deal of interest in your partner. And we've learned quite a bit about him here tonight. He certainly has a sense of humor, and he certainly can let the world rub off his shoulders rather easily. What's he like to work with?
He's great. You know, it's a wonderful opportunity to work with someone about politics whose passion is politics. I mean, if you look at the magazine, you see so much of John in that magazine. He provides the magazine, you know, with its heart and with its soul. He understands politics more than anyone I can ever imagine, and that's evident in every page of the magazine, from the interview he did with George Wallace to, you know, to the fun parts as well, to, you know, Madonna and the cover and Julia Roberts.
What's the toughest part about him, or what's the thing that's hardest for you to deal with?
I spend a lot.
You don't have to be that nice just because we're on national television.
Go ahead, Michael.
I'm making up for this morning. The toughest part?
Yeah, I mean, what about him is the most difficult for you to deal with as a partner?
You know, a partnership is really difficult, especially when you know the other person and you know, you had a friendship before the partnership. So, you know, there are lots about it that are very difficult, and oftentimes we'd rather not have dinner with one another. But it's fun to ultimately work with someone that you know and you trust.
Now, you're a friend of his, right?
Absolutely. Some days.
How do you deal with this symbol aspect of him, that, you know, the People magazines and that side of him? You know him as a friend, a guy. You don't view him that way. How do you view that aspect of him as the public looks at him?
You see the world, you know, to see the world through John Kennedy's eyes is like to see it through no one else's. And every once in a while you sort of get to be a part of that, and it's fun. But there's more to him. You know, there's an editor that I see 10 hours a day, someone who comes to work, someone who has a rich, full life, who partakes in many things in the city, you know, who travels around just like anyone else. So, you know, there's a person that you read about in you know, tabloids and hear about in the press, and then there's the actual person that you deal with day to day. And I guess you reconcile it the same way he does. They seem very disparate at times.
Is it tough to be, I mean, you can't, this is maybe difficult to ask you to get out of your own soul, to be just a regular guy? You can't be a regular guy.
I really think you can. I mean, you know, as I said, I grew up most of my life in very ordinary circumstances, other than the other one. I mean, it's hard to believe.
Ordinary circumstances.
Yeah, I went to